Hi, and welcome to the News at Gen for January 3rd, 2022. We made it, everyone. Most of us. I hope you're well. Happy New Year. Today is National Drinking Straw Day, because who comes up with these? That sucks. It's also Memento Mori, or Remember You May Are Mortal Day. Supposedly this is from ancient Rome. After a triumph or a parade in honor of a victorious emperor, a slave would follow the emperor and whisper in his ear, Memento Mori. Not Maury Povich, mind you, because we always remember Maury Povich. But this means to remind you that you will die, and all victories are fleeting. Perfect start for a comedy show, am I right? I took last week off due to my terrible back, and I'm here this week covering last week's as well as this week's stuff because I don't want to cry about Betty White for 10 minutes. Our top news story is COVID-19. In 2022, new cases in the United States have increased over 200% to nearly 400,000 a day, which is more than at the quote-unquote height of the pandemic, with Omicron being the variant at the top of the heap. When asked about its success, spokesman for the variant credited the success with the youth of America preferring the fresh flavor of Omicron over the old-fashioned Delta variant. In news of the past, do you remember that suicide bomber in Nashville from last Christmas? That happened. And that was like a year ago? Wild. Like, remember these memes? Remember like the once again I'm asking for your financial support meme? Yeah. That was like so long ago. Whatever happened to the Tennessee guy? I mean, I know he blew up, but whatever happened with that? Anyway, and why we can't have nice things news. The man who said, "Let's go Brandon" to Joe Biden on Christmas Eve is now considering running for office. Mr. Jared Schneck was on an interview with some radio broadcaster when he delivered the news. He's been preparing since the event last week, where his first statements said that he was joking, and now he says, "I am being attacked for utilizing my freedom of speech," he said. So obviously he's running on the Republican ticket. He spoke to Steve Bannon and argued, "Let's go Brandon" means a lot more than "fuck Joe Biden." He said it encompasses the entirety of our frustration with Joe Biden, the administration, the leftist mob, the cancel culture, the mainstream media. So what I have to say is fuck Joe Biden and Jared Schneck too. Semi-political celebrities Joe the Plumber and Ken Bone have probably already reached out to Schneck to ask him about joining a podcast or something. Yeah. Anyway, what's probably a good thing, Russia removed 10,000 troops from the Ukraine-Russia border. Rumor has it that Pussy Riot were playing a show somewhere in Russia. Speaking of riots, President Donald Trump on January 6, 2021. He repeatedly had to reshoot the "You're Special People" video, according to Representative Benny Thompson, chair of the January 6th committee. Thompson said, "It appears that he tried to do a taping several times, but he wouldn't say the right thing." Fair enough. I often have to do multiple planks, a shot over and over again to get it right. Apparently it took Trump over 3 hours. Also in news that repeats itself, 14-year-old child was shot and killed while trying on quinceañera dresses. Killed by police. The police say that the bullet skipped off the ground and struck the girl while they were shooting at a man with a records say pipe. They shot at the guy with a rifle. Even more impressive, the Warren Commission is reinstated to see if maybe this would be the clue they need for their magic bullets. In Deutschland news, Germany has closed half of their remaining nuclear power plants because honestly Russia's oil is working just fine lately. In dinner time news, a shark bite fatality was recorded on Christmas Eve near Central California. This was the only fatality recorded in the United States. Maybe we finally stopped pissing off those sharks since we stopped making Sharknados in 2018. In space news, the James Webb Telescope launched Christmas Eve and struck Santa as he was doing test runs of a new sleigh. 13 elves and 3 reindeer were killed in the ensuing disaster. Their identities are being withheld until their next of kin can be notified. But otherwise, the launch was a success, sending the telescope en route to the L2 Lagrange point. There are several Lagrange points, most of which are stable or semi-stable places in the Earth-Sun gravity system. And the last, of course, Lagrange point is the anger nerds have when I pronounce Lagrange. The spacecraft unfurled its solar shield on New Year's Eve, ending one of the more complicated parts of the mission. Because America, expect protests that the shield is imprinted with the U.S. flag any day now, even though that would be a clear violation of the flag code, which probably says somewhere on it not to paint the flag on spacecraft solar shields. In Colorado, an urban firestorm destroyed 1,000 acres of homes across 6,000 acres. Did I say that right? Fuck it. This was not a forest fire. This was a fire in suburbia, which is strange because that's not where climate change is supposed to affect people. Jeffrey Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of 5 of the 6 charges she faced related to sex trafficking, including with minors. To keep with tradition, the coroner has already pre-filled in her death certificate. In Kentucky news, 2 babies survived tornadoes by sheltering in a bathtub. The kids suffered only minor injuries, but for one, I'm pretty suspicious. I mean, bathtubs, indoor plumbing in Kentucky? In old man news, a 70-year-old man has been arrested for leaping from tall buildings with a parachute in Northern Virginia, at least 6 times, including a 32-story plunge from a building over evening traffic. This is, in fact, awesome. In old woman news, a new study suggests grandmothers are more emotionally connected to their grandchildren than to their children. Unfortunately, this doesn't help solve my daddy issues at all. In pop culture news, I saw a few movies while I was off. Saw the Spider-Man movie. Good. Matrix Resurrections. Decent. Yeah, I meant to say Resurrections, but obviously I didn't. And King's Man, which was boring. There's also some good news today. Twitter has permanently banned Representative and live volcano Marjorie Taylor Greene. No joke there. Just thought we could all use some good news. And that's the news at Gen for Monday, January 3rd, 2021. I'll see you next time with all the new shenanigans. And I say next time because I really need to think. Over the past year, I've had some really good times and annoying times with the news at Gen. My self-imposed weekly deadline, occasionally slipping, I guess, but I've written so much past year and I have to rethink what I'm doing. If you look at my Google Analytics, and I know you can't, but I'm going to just tell you, there are only 17 views on average for a video, so I need to figure out what I need to do. Sometimes I think maybe I just need a bump from someone that is bigger who likes my stuff to get the word out. But there's a huge saturation of people that do exactly what I'm doing now. They talk to a camera, try and make some jokes, and upload it, and sometimes they succeed, and sometimes they don't. It seems to be random. Over the Christmas break, I found myself wanting to get into some other things that I do. Did you know I put an album out of music in 2020? Apparently no one else did either. My bad. It probably is my bad because, I don't tell anybody anything. It's really at the point where I need to do what makes me excited. I need to ponder this and figure out if the news agenda is part of what I'm doing. This might take a few weeks, or it might not. I mean, I'm going to continue to put out content on this channel because I think I should. And it's fun sometimes, though it might shift a little to video essays maybe. But I've been working on one where I'm in that loop where I keep reading and maybe the next book or essay or interview or whatever will offer the insight that I need. Blah, 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 blah. What I do know is that part of my problem is that I tied the income of this show that it generates to queercoded.com, and it seemed a good way to pay the writers at the time. And I'll continue to do this, but it's becoming clear that what I want to do here is too saturated to grow. It's just going to be this way. I mean, why watch me once a week write, edit, and perform a whole show, often sometimes very poorly, when there are literally hundreds of other writers doing dozens of other shows? And what makes me think I can stand out? I mean, how can I get better at getting the word out when literally I'm just really hoping sometimes that somebody with 10,000 Twitter followers retweets a joke or a link into an episode. I mean, it's frustrating to seem to not have any control over what's going to happen, which is fascinating. Accordingly, the Patreon will be changing to queercoded.com imminently. The tiers will remain the same, but there's a couple things in there too, including access to a Discord server. If you decide not to stick with it, that's okay. The Queer Coded thing is a group effort. I just hope that many hands make for light work or something. So I guess that means for now, I'll see you again soon. probably this month still, but I just don't know when. And just remember, this was the news at Jen. And also remember, I love you.